Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are joining us in the world today. My name is Lauren Krueger, and I will be talking to you about IFMA's credentialing and training programs, including the CFM, the FMP, and the SFP. If you're joining us live and you want to type into the LinkedIn chat where you are joining us from, I would love to know. I am located in Stavanger, Norway. My family and I moved here about a year and a half ago. And so we are approaching our second winter in Norway, ready for it. We've had some warm weather here. It's just myself with you today. If you attended the session yesterday, you will have seen my colleagues out of the US office. There's a whole team of them there. So it's just me today. So if at any point during this presentation I do not answer your question, I do take the time after the presentation to go through all of the LinkedIn chats and answer those writtenly as well. So your question will be answered if it is not answered on this presentation today. So again, at any point during this, if you have any questions at all about the programs, this is what this session is for. Please ask them in the chat and I will go over them as they are relevant to the slides, or if I miss them, I'll go back through and answer any questions at the end of the presentation as well. So my name is Lauren Krueger. I'm the Director of Sales Operations for IFMA. I've been with IFMA for almost 10 years. I just had my 9-year anniversary last month in July. I started out in the membership department with IFMA and I'm now in the professional development department. So any questions at all about our conferences and events, membership, I'm happy to answer that on this call today. And then IFMA's not just in the United States. We are a global association and we do have offices around the world. Laura Payman is the managing director for IFMA EMEA, not just Europe, apologies. CC Dai is our managing director in IFMA China, and Mahender Singh is our director of IFMA India. And any one of these individuals can also help support your questions. If you're interested in starting a chapter in any of those regions or joining, any of these individuals can also help you as well. So what is IFMA's vision and mission? If you are not familiar with IFMA, our vision is to lead the future of the built environment to make the world a better place. And our mission is to advance our collective knowledge, value, and growth for facility management professionals to perform at the highest level. If you're not familiar with IFMA, we have been around for over 40 years, so we are well established in the industry. We have over 22,000 members in more than 100 countries and 139 chapters globally. So chapters are going to be local geographic representation of IFMA in your local city or country. It's a great way for you to network with other facility management professionals. A lot of those chapters will meet monthly and perform some sort of education requirement, usually a presentation. A lot of these chapters will also conduct facility tours of some of their members. So it's a great way to network with other professionals in your local city or country. We have 139 chapters globally. I know some of you have been joining from Nigeria and China, and there are multiple chapters in those areas as well. So if there is not a chapter in your area and you are interested in establishing a local chapter, please do reach out to IFMA and we can talk with you about what that process might be in order to get a chapter set up in your area. So the theme of this presentation is going to be lifelong learning. Why does lifelong learning matter? It is important as facility managers to stay up to date on current trends, what's happening. Facility management is constantly evolving. If anything, the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us that facility managers are essential personnel, and there's stuff that's always evolving because of what's happening in the world, whether it be from pandemic related issues or weather or anything that's happening, trends, emerging trends, digitization and technology. All of this is what's changing in the industry. And it's something that facility managers should stay up to date on so that they can implement some of these new practices in their own facilities. And IFMA's training really provides a unique way for you to meet those needs based on your level in your current career, any issues you have on the job, and how you want to progress in your career in facility management. There are other programs out there that you may be looking at that include a multitude of competencies in one program. And really, you need to ask yourself, do you need all of that training in one bundle? IFMA provides a unique way for you to access those trainings and upskill, and that is by finding specific courses to meet your knowledge gaps. So you have the option of purchasing bundled training from IFMA, but also it may not be something that you need when you purchase that bundle. You may want just one competency instead of all 10. So IFMA provides a training course for you unique to your needs. You can purchase it a la carte or bundled as you need. So what does it take to be a successful facility manager? You do have to have those FM skills. And what goes into having those skills? It's that passion for learning and staying up to date on industry trends. Again, that lifelong learning component. A solid foundation in the fundamentals of facility management. You need a determination to make an impact on your organization and confidence in your expertise that can be verified by training with IFMA or credentials that IFMA offers. So, what can a credential do for you? Credentials can confidently communicate the value of FM to decision makers and influencers in your organization. When you attain a credential, it says to others that you have achieved either the training and the knowledge and skills acquired within that training, or if it's a certification, it says you've mastered the level of knowledge and skills needed for your industry, and that's what that credential says to you. IFMA also conducts a return on your investment for attaining an IFMA credential. There's a research report that was conducted a few years back, and from that, they've determined that individuals who have attained an IFMA credential have seen an increase in their pay. Again, it's not something that is going to automatically happen for you, but of the individuals that were surveyed, on average, those that had attained an IFMA credential did see a salary increase after attaining that credential. And global recognition and accreditation. All of the credentialing programs that you see on the screen are ANAB accredited programs. So ANAB is it was ANSI, which they're changing their name to ANAB, the American National Accreditation Board. And this is the American body of ISO, if you're familiar with ISO. So what this means is we have this third-party organization that has reviewed all of our policies and procedures for these credentialing programs. It's reviewed all of the subject matter experts, the job analysis that went into creating these programs, the learning objectives. It's basically saying that this third party says, yes, this program meets the level of standard and quality needed for a credentialing program. So why is that important? Like I mentioned, there are many credentialing programs out there, and some of you may be looking at more than just IFMAs to determine which one is right for you. If anything, please verify that the credential that you are looking at is indeed accredited, because what that means is this third party, so not just IFMA saying that this credentialing program will give you the learning objectives you need to complete these competency credentialing courses, but that a third party has reviewed everything to make sure and ensure that the level of learning and standard within these credentialing programs meets that global standard. If a credentialing program is not accredited, that means that they just do not have that third party that's reviewed all of their internal policies, how those programs were created. So having that third party accreditation gives extra importance and protection of the credential you receive for the market. So what you see on the screen are all of IFMA's credentialing and training programs that we're going to be discussing, which you may, trying to be understand which program is right for you. So we're going to start here at the beginner level, the essentials of facility management. And this is really for those who are new to facility management or facility management adjacent. So you might be an electrician or an HVAC maintenance operator. So if you are looking to develop your career in facility management, this is a great training program for you. There are 10 modules for you, and it's really going to give you that high level understanding and role of a facility manager. This is not a credential, it is a training program. The FMP, Facility Management Professional, are for individuals seeking to gain knowledge of standards and best practices in the foundational 4 competencies. So on the next screen, we're going to talk about the 11 competencies that make up the facility management body of knowledge, and the FMP is going to cover 4 of those 11 competencies. The next option you'll see here are IFMA's core competency courses. So this is all of the additional individual competencies that make up the 11. There is a specific course for each one. And these are going to be for those FMs that have a strong foundation in their FM knowledge, and they want to round out their skills across all 11 competencies. This is going to give you that complete understanding and training in all 11 competencies that IFMA has defined as the facility management body of knowledge. The SFP is the Sustainability Facility Professional. It's for FMs with a strong foundation in FM knowledge, because it's going to be building upon that foundational knowledge in sustainability. So it's for those who want to implement sustainable practices within any facility, regardless of your facility's age. It could be 100 years old, it could be 1 month old. What you'll learn in the SFP, you will come away with actual practical processes to implement automatically into your facility. And then you have the CFM at the top, the Master Certification. This is going to be for experienced professionals who meet eligibility requirements. We are going to discuss what those eligibility requirements are in the next few slides. And this is going to demonstrate your mastery of all 11 competencies through knowledge and experience. Apologies, I had a cough attack there. Apologies. So the CFM, the Certified Facility Manager, you've heard me talk of the 11 core competencies in FM that make up the facility management body of knowledge. That's going to be these 11 competencies that you see on the screen here. The CFM is the gold standard for facility managers. It's the pinnacle achievement. It is going to be for those experienced facility management professionals with the knowledge and competence to apply their expertise across the entire body of knowledge. There are eligibility requirements that contain work experience and education. And again, that exam is going to test your knowledge on all 11 competencies that have been defined by IFMA's Global Job Task Analysis. So how do you earn your CFM? The first step is going to be meeting specific eligibility requirements. And I promise we're going to delve into what these are on the next slide. The next step is going to be assess your readiness and prepare for the exam. The next step is then going to be submitting your application through the IFMA website. Once that application is approved, you will schedule your CFM exam. Once you pass that exam, the final step is going to be passing an ethics training course. After that, you will be certified as a CFM. So what are the eligibility requirements? You'll see these in the top upper right corner of your screen. If you have a bachelor's or a master's degree in facility management, you need 3 years of FM experience before you can be eligible to apply. All other education levels, you need 5 years of experience. So if you are an FM with 5 or more years of experience, you are eligible to apply. You can apply at any time. Before you apply, you may want to assess whether you are prepared to sit for that exam, and IFMA offers a number of resources to help you prepare. We have core competency courses, there's an exam prep workshop, and a virtual practice exam to help you prepare for that CFM exam. If you want to understand what are your gaps in knowledge in any of those 11 courses, we do have a new self-assessment tool that IFMA has launched. And this tool is it's going to take you about 2 hours to get through because it's going to ask you in-depth questions based on your experience within all 11 competencies. So it can take up to 2 hours to complete this self-assessment. But once you've done that, it's going to give you a report at the end to tell you exactly where your gaps in knowledge are within the 11 competencies, as well as the sub-competencies that are within there. So it's very detailed, and it's going to provide you a really good overview of where your gaps are and then suggest what training courses may be needed to help you fill those gaps. And then once you feel confident in your knowledge in the 11 courses, you may be then ready to apply for the CFM exam. But training is not required. If you are a facility manager with 4 or fewer years of experience, the next step is going to be to understand the education requirement. Have you graduated from an accredited FM degree program? If you have, then you only need 3 years of experience. If you have not, then you will need to wait until you have 5 years of experience. And during that time, while you're waiting for your eligibility, you can be doing things to increase your knowledge in the 11 competencies, such as looking at the FMP program or conducting training in the individual competency courses. And then once you have that CFM credential, it is not a lifelong credential. You do need to recertify that CFM. So the CFM is valid for 3 years. After 3 years, you do need to submit your recertification documentation. You are required to complete 6 activities in at least 2 of the following categories. So you have FM related education, which is going to be, you could purchase a course from IFMA or another organization. You could attend any of IFMA's conferences or events. The second category is going to be practice. That is basically going to be, are you continuing to practice facility management on the job? Third category is going to be professional leadership. Do you hold any leadership positions in other academic boards or professional associations, such as IFMA within your local chapter? And then development of the profession. Are you attending conferences to stay up to date on industry trends? Are you purchasing courses? Are you, submitting articles and research reports to publications that help move the industry forward? These are all examples of activities that you can record and submit to show that you are maintaining your CFM certification. And one thing to impress upon you is you do not want to let your CFM certification lapse. If you forget to submit your recertification documentation, your CFM will lapse and you will lose that CFM certification. And the only way to attain that designation back is if you take the CFM exam again. So please make sure that you are setting reminders to record your activity throughout the 3 years and then resubmitting your recertification after that 3-year mark. You do receive reminders from IFMA on this because we do not want you to let that CFM lapse. So hopefully this is not something that will slip your mind within the 3 years. Common misconceptions about the CFM exam. First one, I have to study. In fact, no, you do not. The only requirement you have to sit for that exam are meeting those eligibility requirements. There is no training component to sitting for that CFM exam. The second misconception, I can take this at home whenever I want. While IFMA does offer a virtual proctoring session for the CFM exam, there are many requirements that you must meet before you are approved to take remote proctoring. Normally, individuals, and it is encouraged that individuals go to a testing center to sit for that CFM exam. However, we recognize some people still may not be comfortable in large gatherings due to the pandemic or for whatever reason are unable to go to a testing center. Remote proctoring is an option. However, there are many requirements that you must meet before you can be approved for that remote proctoring of the CFM exam. Third misconception is IFMA's exam prep will cover everything you need to know about FM. So no, this is not the case. IFMA does have a virtual CFM exam prep. However, this is not any training in the 11 competencies. This is going to give you an understanding of the CFM exam methodology. Excuse me, one moment. So what that means is the CFM and the IFMA's other credentialing programs is going to approach facility management from a global perspective. So many people who apply for the CFM exam may have 10 or more years of experience in the same facility. So you may be used to how you do facility management within your specific facility. That's not how the questions are going to be asked on the CFM exam. This is approaching facility management from a global perspective. So the questions on the exam are going to give certain scenarios, and you have to answer those questions based on what the ideal action for a facility manager is to solve that problem. So whether you're a facility manager in the US or China or the UK, you have to approach that question from how a facility manager would approach it from a global perspective, not how you would do it in your own specific facility. So sometimes that takes a little bit rewiring of thinking. And so this virtual CFM exam prep is going to help you approach these questions from that methodology. So it's an excellent review for those who, may have been working in a facility for 10 plus years and you're used to how you do facility management in your own facility. This would be a great workshop for you to understand how to approach these questions from that global perspective. And the fourth misconception, this is a lifelong credential. No, it is not. As we discussed in the previous slide, the CFM is valid for only 3 years, and you do have to submit recertification documentation. And the final misconception, if you don't pass the CFM exam the first time, you do have to pay to retake the exam. This is not true. IFMA is offering a free retake. So if for some reason you were to fail your first attempt of the CFM exam, IFMA is offering a free retake, and you have 12 months to schedule that free retake. Okay, and I know we've already gotten quite a few questions asking about the FMP, so I'm going to do a quick comparison to start on what are the differences between the FMP certificate program and the CFM certification. So these programs are very different. The FMP is a certificate program. This is building your knowledge. This is a training program. It is training you in the 4 foundational competencies out of the 11. The CFM is a certification. This is testing your knowledge and your application of your knowledge to questions on an exam. This is certifying you have the knowledge and skills in all 11 competencies. So these programs are very different. Again, the FMP is a training program. You are learning material. You are purchasing everything you need to learn these competencies, the 4 foundational competencies, as well as the final assessments. The CFM, there is no training required. You just have to meet eligibility requirements in order to be eligible to sit for the CFM exam. Again, the CFM is demonstrating that you have the knowledge and skills in all 11 competencies. You've mastered those competencies. There is no training required or conducted with the CFM certification. The FMP, you must complete 4 final assessments online. So when you purchase that FMP program, you are purchasing the final assessments that you need to complete and pass to attain the FMP credential. The CFM is one proctored exam, and you must schedule that after your application has been approved. The FMP is a lifelong credential. The CFM is a certification. You have to recertify that every 3 years. So the FMP, the facility management professional, the FMP is made up of the 4 foundational competencies, and that's what you see on the screen: project management, leadership and strategy, finance and business, and operations and maintenance. So when you purchase that FMP program, you are purchasing the digital books, the content, the training course, the chapter quizzes, there's an FM glossary, case studies, and then at the end of each one of these competency courses, there is a final assessment. You must pass all 4 final assessments in order to submit your FMP application and attain that FMP credential. You can purchase the entire bundle at one time, or you can choose to pursue one competency course at a time. You can purchase just project management. Once you've completed project management, you can purchase leadership and strategy, and so on and so on, if your goal is to achieve that FMP credential. So you can purchase the entire bundle, which includes all 4, or individually. Now, we have different learning methods for you for completing the FMP program. So Robert has asked, in the FMP credential program, there are 3 forms of study schedules. Can you walk him through the process? How does he get these handouts? So IFMA does have different learning models. We recognize everyone is different and may learn better online or in the classroom. So we have different options for you. Everything you need to complete that FMP program by yourself via self-study online is when you purchase that FMP program. If you do that and you go through the program and maybe you're struggling with some of the concepts in project management or leadership and strategy, IFMA does offer virtual classes for you to review the content with an IFMA qualified instructor. IFMA headquarters offers regular training courses in each one of these 4 competencies online. These are virtually led by an IFMA qualified instructor. IFMA also has a number of training partners globally that are able to conduct these training courses for IFMA. They are education training affiliates. They go through a vetting process with IFMA in order to be approved to conduct training. So if you are sitting in the Middle East or Europe, there are likely a training partner near you that you can explore to see if they have an upcoming training in the FMP. So because of the pandemic, much of the courses were moved virtually. However, we've seen, especially in 2022, that classroom courses are coming back. So we do also offer classroom training for the FMP credential. Again, these are going to be delivered through IFMA's partners globally. We do have a list of our partners on our IFMA website that you can see to see if there's one in your country or region. IFMA also has the World Workplace Conference that is coming up at the end of September, and we will be conducting FMP training before the start of that conference as well. So if you are looking at attending World Workplace in Nashville, Tennessee this year, or already are scheduled to attend and you're looking to also achieve your FMP, we do have training courses that are available before the start of that conference. And we also offer a study resource for you for the FMP. So there is a guide that you can download off of the IFMA website that tells you how, it just gives you an example of how to organize your time so that you can complete the FMP in as little as 4 months, 8 months, or 12 months. So you can choose that schedule based on your goal for completing the FMP. And I don't have that exact URL on me right now, but what I will do, Robert, is I will go through after the session and directly link that guide for you in my answer. But that is on IFMA's website on the FMP section, so you can download it from the FMP section as well. So the SFP is IFMA's Sustainability Facility Professional. This is similar to the FMP in that it is a lifelong credential. It is a certificate program. So when you purchase the SFP program, you are purchasing all of the training, the chapter quizzes, the case studies, FM glossary needed to complete that program. There is a final assessment at the end of each one of these focus areas. So there are 3 final assessments in total that you need to pass in order to attain the SFP credential. So the 3 focus areas in the SFP are strategy and alignment, managing sustainable facilities, and operating sustainable facilities. We do like to recommend that typically you have at least a year of experience within facility management before pursuing the SFP. We recommend that you do have a strong foundation in those 4 competencies that make up the FMP, because the SFP is delving into sustainability, which is one competency. And it's going to build upon your knowledge of the foundational 4 competencies. So it's going to give you information on facility efficiency, data-driven decision-making, and sustainable organizational practices. So if you are new to facility management and really don't have a strong foundation in the 4 competencies, it may be a benefit to start there before pursuing the SFP, because the concepts that you will learn in the SFP is going to build on those foundational 4 competencies. So IFMA does not just offer training and education. We are also a membership organization, and it is going to be of benefit to join IFMA if you are pursuing training and education because of the network of individuals and professionals that you can work with as you go through these programs. It is a tremendous resource for networking with other professionals. IFMA does have an online Engage platform that is for members only, and we do have specific communities within that Engage platform for credential holders and earners. So if you are going through the FMP, the SFP, or looking to achieve your CFM, we have specific groups for you with other like-minded individuals also going through those programs. So you can talk with them if you have questions on any of the concepts or topics that are in the programs. You can ask questions on that Engage platform. You might be able to find someone that wants to do online studying with you. It's a great way to hold yourself accountable as well as others going through that program. So it's a tremendous resource to work with other individuals also going through those programs. IFMA also has a knowledge library. So this is going to be a digital library that includes white papers, research papers, webinars, past conferences and events, attendee proceedings or webinars. So it's a huge digital resource of additional material to help you solve maybe a question or a problem that you're experiencing in your facility right now. And you do have to be a member to access the majority of that content in the knowledge library. If you are not a member of IFMA, there is a non-member access level, but it is going to be, your access to the content is going to be limited. So that it is going to be a benefit to join IFMA to really take advantage of that knowledge library. And all of those resources are categorized by the 11 competencies. So if you want additional knowledge in leadership and strategy, you can filter that digital library to show you all of the resources that contain leadership. So it's a great resource. And then again, becoming an IFMA member also allows you discounts on the training products. So you'll notice online there's a price for non-members of IFMA and a price for members of IFMA. So if you're someone who is who believes in lifelong learning and are looking at many of the training courses on the IFMA website, it may be of benefit to you to join IFMA. It may save you money in the long run. And then we do provide group training support. You heard me mention there's a study guide as well as the virtual online courses that are led by an IFMA instructor. So IFMA is here to support you throughout your entire journey. We don't want to just sell you on the credential. We want to see you actually attain that credential because we know the value and we want you to see the value in that as well. So we want to be here to help support you. We provide reminders throughout the program if you haven't accessed it in a while. And again, other resources to help you finish that program if you're struggling with certain concepts or topics. So building your foundation of FM knowledge. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, if the pandemic taught us anything, it's that you all are essential workers and so much is constantly evolving in the industry. So as that workplace evolves, you are vital not only to facility operations and maintenance, but also organizational leadership, productivity, growth, health and safety of the occupants and employees of your building. And this training and education that you will pursue with IFMA is going to help you meet those needs and upskill so that you are creating a safe, efficient facility for your employees and your occupants. So thank you for sitting with me throughout this presentation. I know it was a little bit longer than some of the ones we've done previously. So to thank you, we are offering a discount on our programs. If you use the Summer Learning 50, you do receive $50 off of the Essential Series or one of the FM competency courses. So that's going to be the 7 that are outside of the 4 that make up the FMP. If you use Summer Learning 100, you can receive $100 off of an FMP bundle, so all 4 courses, the SFP, or the Core Competency Course bundle. So we do offer a bundled package of all of the remaining 7 competency courses. And these discounts are valid through the end of August. So this gives you some time to review the material, this additional research to see which program is right for you. And then we have these discount codes that you can use when you purchase that program to receive that additional fee off. You are not required to be a member to receive these discounts, but as I mentioned, IFMA members do already receive reduced rates on our training and credentialing programs, and they can also receive further discounts by using these discount codes. So that is the end of the presentation. I'm happy to continue to answer any questions that you may have. I know somebody had asked about how to become a member of IFMA and join their local chapter. If you go to IFMA's website, ifma.org, one of the main categories at the top of the page is membership. You can join IFMA online at our website, as well as purchasing that chapter membership as well. When you go through that process, you have to enter your information so that it can suggest a chapter that is near you. And so if you are in Nigeria, depending if you're in Lagos or Abuja, it may recommend a chapter that is in those cities. And the fee to join IFMA is $219 US. And many of our credentialing programs has a member rate and a non-member rate, as I've mentioned, and that non-member rate is sometimes more than the IFMA membership fee. So take a look at that membership, at what programs you're looking to purchase, and really determine if becoming a member of IFMA is the best option for you to save more money in the long run. So Robert, you have asked about the upcoming IFMA events and how to attend. And I've included a link as a response to your question of the IFMA World Workplace event in Nashville, Tennessee at the end of September. You will register for that online. I've also included a link to more information for international attendees, which includes visa requirements. You can request a letter from IFMA for your visa application. I understand that the pandemic has really pushed back visa application times because of the amount of individuals now seeking visas. So it is best to start that process as early as possible. Unfortunately, IFMA cannot help you get a time sooner with your embassy. You do have to go through your embassy to acquire that visa application. I do know that some applications will require a letter from the country for that conference, and IFMA can provide that invitation letter to you for your visa application. So Sammy is asking how to get the CFM in Sudan. So there is likely a testing center in Sudan. I will include the link to the Prometric Testing Center site for you, Sammy, and you can put in your address to determine if there is a location in Sudan. If there is not, it will show you the closest Prometric testing center to you. It might be in Egypt. So that is something to consider. If it's not something that you can travel to, it may be that you explore remote proctoring of the CFM exam. But again, there are a number of requirements and technical requirements you must meet before you can be approved for remote proctoring. So I will include that link to you after this presentation so you can go directly to that Prometric Testing Center, put in your address, and see if there's a testing center near you. And I just want to, again, reiterate, I know many of you are looking to perhaps sit for the CFM exam. and I will go back to the eligibility requirement page, but remember there are eligibility requirements before you can apply for the CFM exam. If you meet those eligibility requirements, kind of the next step is to determine, are you prepared for that CFM exam? If you feel that you are prepared enough to sit for that exam tomorrow, that is wonderful. Submit your application, and then once it's approved, you can schedule that exam. If you want to understand, do you have any gaps of knowledge in the 11 competencies? IFMA does offer a self-assessment tool. This is a new tool that IFMA's launched within the last month. It is an online self-assessment that asks you in-depth questions on all 11 competencies as well as the sub-competencies within them. And you have to answer how experienced you are with that specific topic or job role. Do you have no experience or are you advanced? And dependent upon how you answer those questions, it can take up to 2 hours to conduct this self-assessment. But at the end, there is a report that you can view that shows you where within those 11 competencies you have gaps in knowledge, as well as what sub-competencies you have gaps of knowledge, and then it will recommend specific training for you. So if you have gaps in knowledge in, say, communications, IFMA has a communications competency course that you can purchase in order to attain additional training in that competency. So that self-assessment tool is a tremendous resource for you to help you identify your gaps in knowledge. And once you purchase that self-assessment tool, you have access to that dashboard for life. So as you conduct training, you can continue to come back to that self-assessment and redo that self-assessment after you've done training. And it will continue to tell you what specific gaps you may then have after doing training. So that it's going to always continuously update you once you've continued to redo that self-assessment and continue to suggest where your gaps are or where additional training may be needed. So it's a wonderful resource. It's at a really low price point. It's only $50 for non-members, $25 for members. And again, this is something you have for life that is going to help direct you where you need to look at what additional training you may need. So that appears to be all the questions that I have. My colleagues in the US gave this same presentation yesterday. They had a number of questions from individuals, much more than I received today. So I would even suggest watching the presentation from my colleagues in the US that was given yesterday, and that is going to be on IFMA's LinkedIn channel as well as our YouTube channel. Again, there were wonderful questions that were asked during that presentation that may be helpful to you as well. A number of questions were asked about, IFMA's credentialing programs compared to others out there, and they have great answers. And I've touched a little bit on some of that throughout this presentation. And I'll just say one of the key drivers that makes IFMA's programs unique is that they approach facility management from a global perspective. So if you are looking at other credentials from other organizations around the world, you may look at those programs and determine, is this something that is going to be regionally specific, or is this something that is approached from a global perspective? So as I mentioned with the CFM questions, all of IFMA's credentialing programs approach facility management from that ideal scenario. So whether you are a facility manager sitting in the UK or China or Argentina, when you look at these questions on IFMA's credentialing programs, you have to answer them from the most ideal perspective of how a facility manager would solve that problem, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what facility you are in. So, as many of you are aware, some of you may be in a facility manager for academic facilities. Some of you may be in corporate real estate. There are a number of industries within facility management, and IFMA's training is going to be applicable across all industries. There are also industry specific credentials. So, if you're looking at an industry specific credential, that may be what you need at this time. However, if you are going to eventually, you could eventually leave that position. So if you're in academic facilities and you have an academic specific credential for FM, but you find a different job, say in hospitals or in corporate real estate, that credential may not be applicable to other industries. So IFMA's credentials are applicable globally and across all industries. So that is one of the unique things about IFMA's credentialing programs and something to consider when you are looking at other credentialing programs and what is right for you. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to add them to the LinkedIn chat, or you can contact the team at corporateconnections@ifma.org. I'll put that email up one more time for you here. A little bit bigger so you can see. And the team is happy to talk with you on the phone, to reach back out, to discuss your options. That email address is corporateconnections@ifma.org. Thank you all so much for your time today. I hope this was insightful, and I hope to see you soon with some IFMA training. Thank you.